Hey, welcome! This video is a continuation of another tips and tricks video that I just made and uploaded. But it's okay if you found this part 2 video first because there's no real link between them. But if you like the tips and tricks you see in this video, just know that there's another one of these videos available on the channel right now. That being said, let's continue right where we left off and talk about some crazy UI tips and tricks in Blender. There must have been so many instances where you're doing something new in Blender and you see a ton of fields and sliders that you've never seen before and have no idea what they do. Might I suggest right-clicking on the field and checking out the online manual itself. It will take you right to the official Blender definition of that field. What's better than hearing the definition right from the horse's mouth? You can literally get it for anything you see on the user interface. So try it out sometime. Now let's talk about the people with huge 4K 40-inch monitor screens, especially those who make YouTube tutorials with such monitors. We're gonna be honest, we can't see anything you're doing because your UI is literally microscopic to us here on our tiny little laptop screen and smartphone screen. Do us a tiny little favor and control middle click through your UI and make it a little bigger for us, especially the properties panel if not anything. Let's not talk to the laptop Blender users for a while because we've been in possession of a crazy little hardware on a machine that we don't pay any attention to whatsoever when using Blender, which is the friggin' trackpad. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, pan, and orbit, or whatever you want it to do. And there's so much precision in it when compared to our normal mouse wheel. Look at how laggy this zooming in is with the mouse wheel and how smooth the trackpad zoom ins are. So try it out. It's great for video editing as well. The smoother scrolls and zooming in the timeline there as well. So don't underestimate this crazy little thing that you have right under your nose. Also, did you know you have these little things beside every panel in Blender which you can grab to reposition them in the properties panel UI? How about we drag all the important panels right to the top so they're all accessible just a few scrolls away, and save that starter file so you don't have to do it every time you open Blender. And now they're all right there where you need them in every project. Pretty neat. And if you didn't notice them, you probably haven't noticed this little thing on a lot of panels as well. It packs a bunch of presets that Blender comes pre-installed with. Like look at these light path presets. Full global illumination? What the f is that? And then under the performance tab, lower memory and faster render. I didn't know they existed. And not just here, they're everywhere. Look at the sensor panel under the camera tab. There are presets for almost all industry standard cameras. It's all pre-configured, so we don't have to try and understand anything. Just choose the aptly named presets and get going with your project. And now that we've made it to the camera tab, why don't we look at some camera tips and tricks? Starting the Shift Lambda shortcut to activate the fly mode, hands down the best way to place your camera in your scene. I just summon a camera to the scene and directly go into this fly mode to see what angular position looks the best for a render. It basically just turns on an FPS mode for your camera where you can move around with WASD and pan with your mouse, with a ton of other settings as well listed right here in the bottom panel. Another thing I do a lot is place multiple cameras at different angles so I can quickly get a look at some unorthodox perspectives by just selecting the camera I want to jump to and pressing Ctrl numpad 0, or even right clicking on a camera and just setting it as the active camera. Next, did you know the bokeh produced by the default Blender camera is not optically correct? It's basically missing some fringing and noise that you usually see in real life camera bokeh, but not to worry. There are two great add-ons, ProLens 2 and Cam Effects, that will fix this wrong bokeh issue in a click of a button. I would elaborate, but this is not an add-on video, but I do intend to make one pretty soon, so stick around for that if you'd like. Finally, if you go to preferences, then navigation, you'll see a barrage of more navigational settings that you can fidget around with. Personally, I would suggest checking this depth checkbox. If we read its definition, it uses the depth under the mouse to improve view functionality. It's a tiny little change, but it has improved my whole 3D viewport navigation. It's based on where you are in your scene and what objects are around you. If there are a lot of objects, it slows down the zoom a little bit and improves the panning and just tiny quality of life improve. I suggest you turn it on and see it for yourself. But now that we've made it to the preferences tab, let's look at some optimizations we can make in Blender. Starting with this undo steps field in the system tab, change to 64. 64 is a lot. I've never gone back 64 undos. That would be crazy. But 32 is too less. Make it 64 and thank me later. And while you're at it, go to the save and load tab and set the auto save time to every 1 minute, because you know Blender crashes a lot. Not because it's a bad tool, but because we users don't know our boundaries. So let's just set the timer to 1 so Blender auto saves your progress every passing minute. And say Blender did crash and you wanted to recover this auto save, the best way to do it would be this file and recover option. Go to auto save and select the file based on the timestamp you see here. And if not that, did you know the blend1 file is actually another recovery system that Blender sets up every time you save a new source file? Try and open that blend1 file with Blender in case your main Blender file crashes. There is a very high chance this blend1 file will have all your progress safe and secure. Also, under the file menu, there's a cleanup sub-menu that helps you clean up unused data blocks within your current source file. Say your project has a ton of unused texture files and materials at the moment, just click on the first two options in this sub-menu and it will get rid of all those unused data blocks. And if not there, just come to the materials tab for individual objects and click on this tiny drop down and click on remove unused slots. You have no idea how many times I've had unused 4K textures just bugging down my system and just removing them. Fixed all my performance issues. But say you had to use them and there's no way of getting around it, I would suggest checking this simplify checkbox in the render properties and setting a texture limit for the viewport at least. All it means is all the textures will be downscaled to 2K textures in the viewport, which surprisingly is crazy effective. Try it out. It was a very important thing I learned a few months back and I've been utilizing it constantly because my laptop's pretty outdated and it needs a lot of optimizing in bigger C. Talking about heavy scenes, I hope you're using the / key shortcut. It takes you to a local view of the selected object, so all your distractions and the performance loads are gone, and you can properly and efficiently model your objects right within a heavy scene. I sometimes don't even do that. I just start a new Blender file if it's gonna be a long modeling process and do everything there. And it's bizarre to me sometimes, but I just keep modeling stuff within a heavy scene where everything is just blocking my way and it's slow and choppy. Just do it in a new Blender file. And you know what else I do? I use a lot of add-ons, and I have noticed installing them on my latest main Blender version isn't that great an idea because it bogs down the startup times and there are weird issues with them if not updated regularly, because Blender's always changing things, right? And these add-ons don't keep up, and I've had weird issues because of some add-ons in the past. So what I do is I keep an older stable version of Blender installed in my system and I load all the heavy add-ons there, and I keep my main Blender version pretty clean, which I install from the Windows store so that it just updates automatically with the most stable version available and I don't have to think about updating it all the time. And I guess that's it for tips and tricks within Blender. I'd like to finish this video off with a few more outside Blender tips. Every few months, I think all of us fill up our storage spaces with our Blender projects, and then we have to migrate them to an external storage space. And I think the biggest issue with that is missing textures. When you try to reopen these files months later and the mappings are all messed up, what I would suggest is checking this automatically pack resources checkbox before you start the migration process. What it does is it packs all the textures and all the necessary files right into the blend file. So now you don't have to worry about migrating the textures at all. Just migrate the blend file and you'll be good. Another thing is unzipping texture files. As you all know, all texture packs come in a zip format, and what losers do is use the default Windows uncompression system to extract these files. What Legends do is install 7-zip, which is clearly superior to all of its alternative, and right-click drag these zip files and directly click on extract here, and that just does it for you. No more extra clicks, an ugly extraction window. I am not kidding, ignore all the tips you want but not this. Trust me, this is so convenient. And in 3D, you're always unzipping files. Just take this tip and thank me later. Now the final two tips are just for generally improving your final renders. The first one is making a checklist. I worked in a corporate environment for the longest time and they had a checklist for literally everything before you deliver any product to the client. So there's nothing missing in the final delivery. So now I have a checklist for my own Blender project. It includes really simple checkpoints like, did you add lens distortion? Did you add some blur to your final render? Did you match the black and white values throughout your render? Some compositional guides like, did you try flipping the image to see if the composition still stands? Did you try drawing lines to see where the viewer's attentions might go? Stuff like that, things that I sometimes forget to do when I'm done with my project. It helps me not make some common beginner mistake. And I keep growing this checklist. Whenever I hear a new tip from a tutorial or a Twitter post or whatever it might be, I add it to the checklist. It might feel kind of weird to do that, but it has worked wonders for me, so give that a try. Final tip I can give to improve your final renders is give your renders a few days of breathing space. I know you just want to upload your finished render as soon as possible to Instagram or Twitter or wherever, but just give it a few days. Don't look at it for a few days, start a new project if you have to, and come back to it after a week or so. Just see how many mistakes you find in it. Don't keep doing it because you're looking for perfection, of course, because perfection doesn't exist, but give it at least one rewrite. Don't settle for the first draft, and watch how much that improves your final renders. I've been doing it for the past few months now, and I feel a clear jump in the quality of my final renders. So try it out if you're not getting anywhere with your work. But I guess that's it. These are tips I use every day myself. This isn't just a clickbait video. I've been collecting these tips and tricks for the last 30 days, so I just don't give you a bunch of bullshit tips that you can never use yourself. So let me know if this was helpful, and if it was, check out part 1, because there are a ton of useful tips and tricks in that video as well. So check it out, please. Right here. Just right here. Right here. Click here. Click here, you dumb.